Bam. My peoples. My peoples. Tank Davis and Lamont Roach, they're set to have their rematch next month in August. And we know how the first fight played out. This rematch is very much anticipated. The people want to know what's going to happen. Taking into account how the first fight played out. We got to talk about it. Welcome to the newest episode of Boxing for Breakfast, where you get a healthy dosage of sweet science early in the morning. I'm Jay Smith. I'm your host, man. Let's talk about this. So let's start off with talking about the first fight. The rematch is coming up, but before getting into what we can expect, what's going to happen, let's talk about why we're here. We're here at a point where a second fight is going to take place between Roach and Davis because of Lamont Roach's, I will call it a breakthrough performance in the first fight. Why a breakthrough performance? Yes, he was a world champion. He is a reigning world champion at the 130 division. However, Lamont Roach wasn't a big star. And that performance catapulted his name to the point where I said boxing fans know him. You know, you put together that type of performance versus Tank Davis, people are gonna know you. Same thing, bam. Same thing versus Pitbull Cruz. Before Pitbull fought Tank, a lot of people didn't know him. However, after that fight, he goes the distance with Tank, toe to toe, trades leather, takes Tank's biggest shots, keeps going forward, lands his own. And he earned the boxing community's respect after that fight, became a star. And he's been able to accomplish because Pitbull became a world champion. He became a world champion at 140 before losing to Rayo Valenzuela. So, you know, you get in the ring with Tank and you perform, you do good, people are going to pay attention to what it is that you're doing afterwards. They're going to follow up on you. You're going to become a star. And we're seeing that with Lamont Roach. And look, man, I want to see how the rematch is going to play out. I know that, as always, when a fighter who is supposed to lose puts in a special performance versus a big star, there's always going to be the people that will bring up some type of excuse. Or, you know, for example, when you say that Tank Davis wasn't himself, you're diminishing Lamont Roach's win over him. Because you're saying, oh, yeah. I mean, not his win, the draw. It was a gifted draw, in my opinion. But when you say that Tank Davis wasn't the same, in a way, you're diminishing Lamont Roach's performance. Why are you not thinking that Lamont Roach made Tank not be the same? Come on now. And I've said it before. When a fighter, if we're used to seeing a fighter knocking everybody out, beating everybody up, when that doesn't happen, of course he's not going to look the same. That's not what we're used to seeing. But not looking the same doesn't mean that Roach is not the person who caused that. He doesn't mean that he stepped in the ring not being the same and not ready to perform. Tank gave it his best, and Lamont Roach gave it his best. And at the end of the day, we have to accept it, my peoples. Lamont Roach is really that good. He's that talented. You know, look, a lot of times we underestimate world champions if we don't know them. Because Lamont Roach wasn't, like I said, man, a lot of us didn't really know Lamont Roach until he fought Tank Davis. Before that fight, I seen Lamont Roach in highlights. Highlight, like for example, I saw the highlight when he fought Jamel Herring, which is his only loss. So I saw some highlight videos of Lamont Roach, but I never seen him in a full fight. Angry Mexican. Good morning, Jay Smith. My G. Good morning, my brother. Bam. You already know it, man. Welcome to the latest episode of Boxing for Breakfast, where you get your healthy dosage of sweet science early in the morning. Yeah, man, when it comes to this whole Tank Davis versus Lamont Roach saga, we have to take a lot of things into consideration. It's not as simple as, oh, well, Tank Davis wasn't himself, so this time around he's going to come through and beat up Lamont Roach and knock him out. I don't see that happening. Now, Tank Davis can win this fight. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying that he cannot win. Why? He's an elite level fighter. What are we talking about here? He's an elite level fighter. Of course he can win the fight. But to be that confident, as far as thinking that he's going to wash Lamont Roach, he's going to stop him or make it look easy, anything crazy like that, nah. Look, my peoples, being real with y'all, there's absolutely nothing about the first fight that says Tank Davis is going to dominate Lamont Roach. You didn't see anything. There wasn't a single moment of this fight where it appeared Lamont Roach was being dominated. So where could it even, the notion, the idea that Tank Davis is going to dominate and knock Lamont Roach out, make it look easy, that idea, where could it even come from? When we saw a Lamont Roach that arguably beat Tank Davis in that first fight. Angry Mexican. I'm not sold on Roach yet. I have to see it one more time. Tank, I think, will have Calvin Ford taken back over as head trainer. I think I heard that was the case. But again, you're saying that you're not sold on Lamont Roach, but what about the fight makes you feel like you're not sold on him? Is it because he has to do it again? It's just that simple. You got to see him do it more. Because that fight, if you're, basing your opinion on that performance, you should be sold on Lamont Roach, my brother. This guy went face-to-face, toe-to-toe, blow for blow with Tank Davis for 12 rounds. No running, no fighting defensively, no just, trying to survive. He brought it to Tank Davis. I'm talking about in the front door, in the living room. Boom. What's up? I'm right here. Angry Mexican. You wake up to a nice setup, Jay Smith. I appreciate it, my guy. I appreciate it. I do. I feel lucky. I'm blessed. Angry Mexican. Roach looked bigger than Tank, even coming up to 135. Nah, I didn't see that. Honestly, I didn't see that. To me, they're about the same size with Tank being a little bit stockier. Roach got a slimmer frame. But I didn't think there was, even though Lamont Roach is moving up one division, it's not like it didn't look much, they didn't look much different as far as size to me. But I will say, look, this is my take on it, on this rematch. I analyzed the first fight. How did it play out? The first fight, Tank Davis started slow, which he does pretty much every time. We know that he loses early rounds. He did so to Ryan Garcia, Frank the Ghost Martin, Rollies, multiple fighters who won rounds early on their fights with Tank Davis. But then eventually he starts picking up the pace. That's the same thing that he did with Lamont Roach. Started off slow. Lamont Roach took most of the early rounds, and then Tank Davis started picking up the pace. Only something different happened in this fight. When Tank Davis started trying to land those hard punches, Lamont Roach actually stood right there with him and then made him miss and made him pay. Lamont Roach is one of the only fighters that we've seen in Tank Davis' entire career who counter-punched his counter punches. Let that marinate in your spirit, my people. Tank Davis would load up on the left hand, right? He's loading up on it, setting it up. Lamont Roach would shoot a jab, and Tank would try to pull back, boom, and counter with the left. And guess what? Lamont Roach will counter that punch, boom, and catch Tank Davis right in the kisser. So you got to understand, Lamont Roach, he has a very quick reaction time because, yo, timing Tank Davis, not only timing him, but being able to counter his power counter shot, that's very tough to do, my people. Damn, shit. That's very tough to do. That's why you don't see nobody doing it. Angry Mexican, do you see Tank use the uppercut as much? He used to spam those earlier in the career. The thing is that, Tank often fights with taller fighters. So he's able to put that leverage on that uppercut. Lamont Roach is about his same size. He's not a lot, there's not that size difference for Tank. And Lamont Roach doesn't put his head down like that. So it's hard to use it on him. Ooh, my peoples, showing the love in the building. Angry Mexican, hooking your boy Jay up, showing love for your boy. Yo, Angry Mexican, you know what it is, my G. I got mad love for you. I appreciate you looking out. Yeah, let's get it. We talking boxing for breakfast early in the morning. K Khan, are you Pakistan? Nah, my brother, I'm actually in the Dominican Republic. Angry Mexican, that's a good point. And look, I'm trying to tell you, if you think about Lamont Roach, the way that he performed in that fight, as Tank started to get more aggressive, he only kept standing in front of him, trading with him, winning exchanges. And that's why Tank got frustrated. That's why he took the knee and lied about the grease and the eye and all that stuff. That's why. Because he's not used to that. Tank is used to, okay, I'm going to let you get confident. Go ahead. Look what he did to Ryan Garcia. Look how he did it to Frank the Ghost Smart and let him get confident. Rollies too. He got confident. And then what happened? Boom! Got caught slipping. Lamont Roach wasn't falling for that. He wasn't falling for that. Never got overconfident. Every time they close the gap, you see Lamont Roach's hands up. Because with Tank Davis, if you close the distance, hands down, man down. And Lamont Roach was ready for that. You know how many times in this fight, Tank Davis tried to catch him with a counter left? Oh! And Lamont Roach caught it right there. Boom! Right in the gloves. Jekka Cow, Tank going loose again, bro. Look, man, I'm going to be honest, and I said this before, and I'm going to stand on it. I got Lamont Roach winning the rematch. I got him winning the rematch. And I have people telling me, yo, you hating on Tank. That's why you got Lamont. My peoples, we saw the way the first fight played out. And I keep pointing out the fact that this did not go the distance because Lamont Roach was trying to survive. Or because Lamont Roach, was fighting in a way that Tank Davis just couldn't catch him. Or was clinching too much or running too much. Tank Davis and Lamont Roach went the distance because Tank Davis could not stop Lamont Roach. And Lamont Roach was in his face all night long, putting hands on him. That's why I went the distance. So it's not the case where you could say, well, Lamont Roach was running too much and Tank could, like William Score. Lamont Roach didn't pull a William Score. He was in front of Tank Davis' face all night long. Jack Cacao, Tank not that elite of a boxer. Lamont proved that he can from 130. So Jack Cacao, I'm gonna have to disagree with you, my brother, when you say Tank is not that elite boxer. Tank is without a doubt an elite level boxer. And we have to say that he's one of the best. The only thing, resume is kind of weak, taking into account that he's already 30 years old. So the resume is kind of weak. But still, Tank Davis is an elite level fighter, my guy. That's a fact. But what I think we didn't learn that Tank Davis is not elite. We learned that Lamont Roach is an elite level fighter. Angry Mexican Jay Smith, It's crazy. I wake up this morning and I go back at office boxing rankings, and sure enough, there is Jake Paul ranked 14 for the WBA cruiserweight rankings. Uno is soldier. Styles make fights. That's a fact, my guy. So Angry Mexican, before they even ranked him, I think you was on the chat when I was talking about it. I mentioned it. How is it possible that he fights Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., someone who is unranked, and for beating him, he gets ranked? That's crazy work. Y'all think about it. They found the perfect way to get Jake Paul ranked without him having to actually fight a ranked opponent. Business, business and strategies and all that stuff. You know what it is? Like, look at Jake Paul's entire resume. How do you make it into the rankings? By fighting somebody that isn't ranked. So that was the strategic move. Bring Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. out of retirement at almost 40 years old, so they could say, look, we beat a world champion. You got to rank us. That's why, my peoples, never go by that line. Beat a world champion. You need more than that. Okay, you beat a world champion. Who is that world champion? Because there's a big difference between beating a reigning world champion and beating a guy who hasn't been a champion since 2012. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. hasn't been a champion in over 10 years, my peoples. Over 10 years that he hasn't been a champion. Not only that, this dude's had problems with drugs, alcohol, getting in trouble, getting arrested. Like, the last 10 years of his life, he's been messed up in the game. And look now. Look at this fight. Embarrass himself, embarrass his father. Psh, come on now. And beating that guy gets you ranked. That's crazy work. But that's business. That's business and politics at work right there. Tarzan Ropes, apparently 48-year-old Anderson Silva beat Chavez Jr. as well. But Silva isn't ranked. Because, beating Chavez Jr., how could that get somebody even ranked? That's crazy work. How? How beating, and look, this is the simplest logic that I think of. How Jake Paul beating Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., who is not a ranked fighter, gets him ranked at 14. He's ranked ahead. If you look at the top 20, cruiserweights, Jake Paul is ranked above 6 cruiserweights. And he's never faced anybody who's ranked in his career. How does that even happen? How? I don't know. But I can tell you that Jake Paul is going to end up getting some type of opportunity that none of these other cruiserweights can get. Whether he gets a title shot real soon, or gets a big name, or gets, But it's all about the popularity. You know how it works. If you're super popular, this is something that we learned from Jake Paul. If you're popular enough, you can get whatever fight you want. You can make it happen because of your popularity. So at this point, even though Canelo dissed him and play with his feelings and all that, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Canelo and Jake Paul. I wouldn't be surprised if we see other world. We're bound to see Tank Davis and Jake Paul. If Tank Davis beats Lamont Roach, we're most likely to see Tank Davis fighting Jake Paul, my peoples. That's actually looking like it's going to happen in November. Tarzan Rose, cruiserweight division has been dead for a while. They want to revive the division with his popularity, I think. I don't know what they trying to do, my brother, but what I can tell you is that I don't see Jake Paul beating the best in the division. Anybody in the top 20, I don't see him beating any of them. Uno is soldier. Jake has the complexion for the exception. Jake Paul is a disrespect to all the pro fighters who work their way up. Jake Paul will never fight a live one again. He fought Fury and lost. How is how is he ranked? So, and the funny thing is, Tommy Fury never been ranked in his life. Tommy Fury, look, I'm gonna be honest, and I don't mean no disrespect to Tommy Fury. I got respect for the Furies. Bam. But I see Tommy Fury more like a social media boxer, like a celebrity boxer. And why I say that, Tommy Fury been boxing for a while. I haven't seen him trying to climb the rankings, trying to chase a title, trying to, I haven't seen that him stepping up in competition and trying to get some big names. I haven't seen that. I see him like somebody who gets in there, gets some wins, gets a nice little check, but he's fighting people that he's supposed to beat. Ali Dub, Tarzan, I don't care. Tank is very talented. I agree. I agree. Tank an elite level fighter. Tarzan Rose, Tank is half the size as Paul. He's still gonna beat Jake Paul. Jake Paul can't fight. Jake Paul can't fight. You take an elite level, you take a small elite level fighter, and you put him against a big fighter who can't fight, and the small elite level fighter is gonna win every single time, bro. Every time. Like there's no getting around it. So the idea that Jake Paul is gonna beat Tank Davis, you can forget about that. Miss Guam, cruiserweight, cause he more like a heavyweight. He's definitely getting killed by any top cruiserweight. That's what I'm saying though. Jake Paul. One thing that I think at this point we all have to agree with: Jake Paul is a legit boxer. Yes, he's not an elite level guy. I can't see him becoming a world champion unless they pull a funny move and try to get him a vacant title and shit. I can't see him winning one. But even though he don't have that type of talent, he's a legitimate boxer. The people who are saying, "Oh, he's a fake boxer, he's not real," you're on denial. Is he cherry picking? Yes. Is he finding ways to put himself in fights where he's most likely to win, where he's gonna be the favorite? Yes. But still, he's a boxer. He's a boxer. He's already been training, with legit trainers, legit sparring partners, top-notch boxing gyms, equipment, nutrition. He's been doing it all at this point for 7, 8 years. Yes, he's a boxer. We got to stop that narrative that he's a fake boxer. Miss Kogwan, why didn't they run it back since Fury won and Paul didn't want to revenge for that? So it's actually Jake Paul who's now been chasing Tommy Fury wanting the rematch. And I don't know, for whatever reason. In fact, after his last fight, he said it, Tommy, stop running. Coley Dub, I will be worried that Jake will be able to pay his way to a belt in some BS fight. I don't trust him at all. I mean, I don't know. I don't know, man, because to be honest, this last fight with Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., I thought I was watching a cooking show for a moment. I was like, nah, man, I'm out. I'm out of here. I'm out of here. I didn't watch the whole fight. I think it was after the 7th round or 8th, I was like, nah, man, this is a cooking show. I'm going to sleep. I went to sleep. I didn't even watch the last couple of rounds. Why? Because I'm watching this fight, and the first 6 rounds, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. is barely throwing any punches, barely doing anything, just allowing Jake Paul to operate. This former world champion, not doing anything. And then when they get to round number 7, throwing combination, closing the gap. I'm like, yo, wait a minute. So you've been holding back this whole time on us, my boy? You've been holding back, my boy? Stop playing with me. I'm watching a cooking show. That's it. I went to sleep. Because that's what it felt like I was watching. So, Angry Mexican. I don't watch much women's boxing. Bro, from what I heard, Jake Paul does good things with them. That's facts. Look, Jake Paul is very smart when it comes to that because he knows that as a fighter, he's never going to be taken serious. He is a real boxer, but he's not that talented. Because of that, how does he legitimize his career in boxing? Because his own, boxing fight, his own fights look like a circus show. He becomes legitimate by becoming a promoter. Now, as a promoter, who's gonna deal with Jake Paul? All these fighters, they're not gonna deal with him. If anything, they mad. They want to beat him up. But the women who don't make a lot of money, who don't have a big platform, who don't have a lot of support from networks, he went after them. Oh shit, let me promote the women. That way I become the hero. Oh yeah, I'm promoting women's boxing. I'm the hero. Oh look, I'm paying women more than everybody. So honestly, man, knowing Jake Paul, what I see in him, is not really for him. It's not about the women. It's not about helping the women. It's more about raising his profile and him becoming legitimate. Because I tell you, as a promoter in women's boxing, Jake Paul is positioning himself to be the guy. He's gonna be the promoter, with the most female champions, paying women the most money, doing the most cards. He's gonna be that guy. That's what he's positioning himself. But it's all about business, and Jake Paul is getting the business done. The women are happy, they're making money. So even though I don't think he's doing it for them, but at the end they are being benefited. So salute to Jake Paul for taking care of the women. Yes, sir. Miss Kogwan, is the script or contract to hurt Jake? I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know if it was part of the script, part of the contract, but it looked like Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. was holding back for the first 6 rounds. Maybe the contract was, yo, you got to start fighting after the 6. The first 6, you're going to give it to us and let us operate. I don't know, man. I don't know. Jamie Givling, Jay Opataya taking over. Jay Opataya's the truth, man. He made me a believer from the first time I watched him fight. Tarzan Rose, Jake is a great businessman. Gotta give him that. I agree. You gotta you gotta respect someone who finds a way to carve their own lane so that they can become extremely successful and make a lot of money. And that's what Jake Paul did. He carved his own lane in boxing. Before him, there was, we've seen a lot of exhibition fights, but we've never seen someone come out of YouTube, start making start making exhibition fights and turn that into professional fights, into a professional boxing career. And into talks about him eventually fighting Canelo Alvarez, fighting Tank Davis, fighting for a title. Like, we're talking about Jake Paul possibly, fighting at the highest levels of boxing without ever even, without no amateur career and without even being that good. That's why it really bothers us. Let's keep it 100, my people. What bothers us boxing fans is that Jake Paul has gotten this level of popularity without even beating anybody. By beating YouTubers and retired fighters and 60-year-old Mike Tyson. It's annoying to see it. We want to see him fight somebody, around his age. All these 40-year-olds and 50-year-olds and 60-year, like, come on, bro. Come on. Carly Dub. I fought at European level almost 20 years ago. Super middleweight. I will 100% beat Paul back when I boxed. I mean, if you box long enough, you definitely beat Jake Paul. The reason I say if you box long enough, because I don't want somebody thinking, well, I boxed at that same division as an amateur and I did it for 6 months, but I learned how to do it. If you box long enough, if you have enough experience, you beat Jake Paul. Any good boxer would beat him, beat his ass. Angry Mexican. I've been seeing some butt footage on him working on body shots. The word is Canelo has a weak body, and that's how Bud could stop him. I mean, I know. Listen, Crawford is known for his body shots. If you watch the fight with Errol Spence, we all focus on the stoppage and the brutal beating that he gave Errol Spence. If y'all remember, left Errol Spence's face looking like a ninja turtle, swole, looking like Michelangelo. But he landed some brutal body shots on Errol Spence that people sleep on. Ugh, flush. So, you know, everybody's focusing on Canelo to the body. Canelo's gonna break him down because he's too big. All that. Guess what? Crawford to the body. We're gonna be hearing that too. That's what I've been telling people. Y'all gonna see me on September 14th. And I hope everybody who's predicting that Canelo is gonna knock Crawford out, I hope y'all show up to the live. I really do, because when it was Errol Spence, a lot of people disappeared. A lot of people was nowhere to be seen. Tarzan ropes. Samoans fell off except Jai Opataya and Joseph Parker. I mean, I don't think they fell off. You know, sometimes you don't have a world champion. Boxing, you got to understand, my brother, boxing right now is a global sport. Like, it's always been a global sport, but boxing programs around the world are getting better and better and better. So sometimes a country doesn't have a world champion. That happens. But they have some good fighters. And there you go. You mentioned two of them right there. Number 23. Mexicans' weakness is the body. Now, I would say that's generalized. I would say that's generalized. That's not the case with every Mexican, that they have, a weakness to the body. Jacob, I'm 54 years old, and I can defeat Jake Paul. So let me ask you, Jacob, how much boxing experience do you have? How much boxing experience do you have? Did you box as an amateur for a certain amount of time and compete? Did you fight as a professional? Like, what's your boxing experience? Angry Mexican, I'm going to be here for the live stream. First off, I'm calling that fight. There's no getting around it. I'm going to be calling it. So, I know, Angry Mexican, that you're going to be live for the actual fight. You're going to see me enjoying that to the fullest. And I'm going to be giving shout outs to the people who said Canelo's going to knock Crawford out. I think I'm going to give him a shout out. Anytime Canelo lands, boom, and Crawford doesn't go down, I'll be like, yo, shout out to my people that said Crawford's going to get knocked out as soon as he Canelo punch. Salute. Uno is Soldier 7. I've been saying Bo will beat this Canelo. He drinks too much, and that body will be a target. Nah, so look, the he drinks too much part, honestly, I'm not concerned about that. And I'm going to tell you why. Canelo Alvarez, and this has been the case throughout his entire career, he's very, very disciplined. So yes, when he's not in training camp, you can see him partying, you can see him on the little boat with the little drinks and all that. But when Canelo's in training camp, he's a very disciplined fighter. He's not drinking, he's not partying, he's not having fun. He's laser sharp focused. So when he show up come fight now, he's gonna be in great shape. Jamie Giblin, David Tua. Oh my God, yo, David Tua was a special fighter. Love watching David Tua. 23, Berlanga versus Canelo was fire. Put some respect on Berlanga's name. Nah, my brother, I'm actually disappointed in Edgar Berlanga, to be honest. I'm real disappointed in Edgar Berlanga. And I'm going to tell you why, my God. I felt like Berlanga was in that fight to survive. He was looking for a moral victory. He fought like, to him it was good enough to say, look, I went the distance with Canelo. Ooh, I didn't get stopped. There you go. I did it. So Berlanga versus Canelo, to me, his stock dropped. In that fight, at no point did you see the usual Edgar Berlanga who's going to make a push, who's going to be aggressive, you never saw that. You never saw that. He didn't risk himself. He fought safe. He fought to go the distance. So, nah, bro. I, I wasn't happy with Berlanga after that fight. Angry Mexican. Right now, Japan, America, Mexico, and UK are probably putting out the most boxing talent. Let me tell you something crazy, my brother. Look at Dominican Republic. In a map where the US is like this, Dominican Republic is like this. And we have 3 world champions right now, 3 reigning world champions right now. Yo, we got more champions than a lot of countries. A lot of big countries that don't have 3 world champions right now. Uno es Soldier, Berlanga pulled a Charlo against Canelo. I agree. I agree. If you look at the fight with Jermel Charlo and Canelo Alvarez, Jermel never looked like he was trying to win that fight. He just looked like he was trying to survive. And Berlanga's fight with Canelo played exactly the same way. Both of them fought to avoid getting knocked out. They never made a push to actually try to win it. Angry Mexican, shout out to Dominican Republic. Appreciate it, my G. 23. What you think about Puello Matias? That's an interesting matchup. That's a classic matchup of the boxer versus the puncher. We already know what Subriel Matias does. We know about his knockout percentage. But the one knock that I got on him is that he take too much punishment. Subriel Matias, he takes a lot of punishment to get on the inside and dish out his own. And I don't like that. There's fights before he lost for the first, well, not for the first time, for the second time. Before he lost his title to Josh Taylor, there was a couple of fights where it looked like he might lose because how much punishment he was taking. So it's almost like it was a matter of time for him to lose based on those couple of last fights before facing this guy. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I think Puello is going to be a tough matchup for Subriel Matias because he has real good footwork, real good movement. Let's see. Let's see if Subriel Matias can become a champion once again because he got the power to dictate the outcome of the fight, but he got to catch him. And Puello has real good defense. He's a slick fighter. He can move, pop that jab. Let's see, man. Let's see. That's a tough fight. Boys be crying. Going to watch your Joseph Brown interview later while working on my project. Oh, yeah. It was a very good interview with Joseph Brown. I believe in him. This kid is going to become a world champion. When the time is right, he's going to do it. By the way, watch the interview that I did with Mr. Joseph Brown, his pops. Oh, no, Martin Brown. Martin Brown, right? I actually interviewed his pops. And, we talked about Joseph as a kid and how he just excelled in all these different martial arts. A lot of people don't realize this, man, but Joseph Brown, he wants to become a world champion in boxing, a world champion in MMA, and a world champion in kickboxing simultaneously. I believe he can actually do it. That's how good he is. This kid's fought a bunch of fights in all of these sports, and he just elite level in all of them. So Joseph Brown is a special young man. He's going to go on to do some big things in different sports. Jerry Smarty Pants. He did it for the money. I see him at the MGM casino right after the fight. He was celebrating like he won. You see what I'm saying? You don't want to see a fighter get in there and not even look like he's trying to win the fight. And that's what I saw in Berlanga versus Canelo. Uno is Soldier 7. DR is definitely in the come up. So much talent, dog. Yo. Matter of fact, since we're talking about DR on the come up, right now is the World Cup of Boxing taking place I think in Kazakhstan. And Dominican Republic, we have one of our Olympic medalist. He's a silver medalist, and he's over there. Ah, man, I'm sorry to tell you this, my peoples in the U.S., but he's the Olympic silver medalist, and he fought in that cup in the first round versus the American opponent. Sorry to tell you, man, he whooped his ass. But it was a good fight. It was a competitive fight. But this kid, man, I can't wait till he turned pro. I can't wait till he turned pro. I was hoping that he was gonna go to the Olympics, get a silver medal, well, get a gold, but he got silver. And I was hoping that he was gonna turn pro right away, but he decided to stay on as an amateur. And I think he's gonna go to the next Olympic Games too. Let's see. Tarzan Rose. What are with Ryan Garcia and Oscar De La Hoya? I think Ryan's gonna leave him now. Let's see. You know that Ryan and Oscar been going back and forth for a very long time, dissing each other, mocking each other, all type of shit. But he's under contract with Golden Boy, so we'll see. Does he have to wait for the contract to play out and all that stuff? 23. Now that Farmer got the F knock, did Shakur lose respect for Zepeda's power? Nah, I don't think so. I don't think so at all. Because remember, as always, we all know this, styles make fights. So the fact that Farmer got knocked out, that doesn't mean that that Zepeda's power wasn't there. It just means that he had a better fight against Zepeda. He matched up better. So that doesn't really dictate the outcome and what's going to happen. But I will tell you, all the talk about Shakur being boring, about Shakur running too much, how people fall asleep in his fights, all that talk about that hate, Shakur's going to show out. I believe we're going to see a performance like we saw versus Oscar Valdez, like we saw versus Jamel Herring. I believe Shakur's going to put the weights on William Zepeda. And the thing is that Zepeda, he knows that he cannot outbox Shakur. He's already said, hey, look, I'm going to knock him out. I know that they're not going to give me the scorecards. I'm going to knock him out. Guess what? In trying to knock Shakur out, he's going to make a lot of mistakes. He might get knocked out. Don't be surprised if Zepeda go to sleep. Boys be crying. Black belt in Taekwondo. I believe black belt in BJJ and undefeated in all martial arts. Very underrated. Remind me of Bud being cool with people. He cool with Rolly. Always see them together. Yeah, he mad cool with Rollies. They great friends. And I actually found that out from his pops. When I interviewed his father, he told me that Rollies was his best friend. Tarzan Ropes. An elite boxer can become a kickboxing world champ easily. MMA is hard because of the wrestling game. Now, I can't agree with you, my brother. I can't agree that an elite boxer can become an MMA champion, a kickboxing world champion easily. And to show you that it cannot be done easily, it hasn't been done. He would be the first one, like, to become a world champion in boxing and then become a champion in kickboxing. That has never been done. Has never been done. So, and the reason I tell you is far from easy is because developing kicking skills to a world level, it takes years. To a world caliber level, it takes years and years. So if you're a boxer and you get into kickboxing, you will never become a champion in kickboxing. I'm saying, like, if you're a grown man, like, let's say you're a 25-year-old elite level boxer, you're nice with the hands, and at 25 you decide to go kickboxing, you're never going to become a champion in kickboxing. Why? You got hands, you got good hands, but you don't got no feet, and you're never going to have elite level feet if you start at that age. So no matter how good your hands is, with no feet, you dead in the water in kickboxing. They're going to kick the shit out of you. Real talk, yo. They gonna kick the shit out of you over there. Vaz, I'm a kickboxer. Salute, my brother. So as a kickboxer, what is your opinion? Do you think that a boxer can, let's say a 25-year-old boxer, that's the example, can say, okay, I want to start kickboxing and start learning how to kick and become a world championship caliber kickboxer? I don't see it happening. Just because of how much time it takes to actually learn how to kick, and then get to that level. Boys be crying. Angry Mexican will be in 18 by 18 ring, and Brian Norman Jr. has experience fighting slick fighters and amateurs. Yo, listen, Brian Norman Jr. versus Devin Haney, that's a very interesting matchup. And you gotta give credit to Devin for taking this fight. Think about it. Devin Haney has heart. You gotta respect him. You gotta respect him, my peoples. Why did he choose Brian Norman Jr.? An undefeated world champion who's coming off of the biggest knockout in his career. And that's who Devin Haney picked for his next fight? Yo, you gotta respect him. You gotta respect Devin Haney, my peoples. Real talk. Carly Dub gotta defend kicks too. Totally different. That's what I'm talking about, man. Kicks is a whole different ball game. And then the defense for the kicks is also a different ball game. You don't defend yourself from kicks the way you do it with punches. Tarzan ropes, but these guys in MMA doesn't even kick like Topuria are knocking out kickboxers. Again, my peoples, boxing is a combat sport that's only with the hands. It's gonna be at a disadvantage if you go practice another sport where they kick or do other stuff. Ernest Morales having breakfast, my brother. Bam, you already know it. Boxing for breakfast, where you get your early dosage of sweet science. And y'all know what it is, man. We talking boxing. Angry Mexican. Boys be crying. True that. Norman has some pretty good footwork for his size. Yo, Brian Norman Jr. can fight. I'm wondering, is Devin Haney going to be the underdog? Is he going to be the underdog? Because he's fighting a live one. Let's see how the odds are going to be for that fight. Boys be crying. Gotta build strong legs and body. In terms of body, Floyd Mayweather has a workout for it in terms of legs. Check the Muay Thai guys. Gotta build that bone density and have microfractures that game. Yo, that's a different ball game. I'm telling you. Listen, and that goes for every sport. A boxer doesn't belong in the octagon. They're gonna get whooped. But an MMA fighter doesn't belong in the ring. They're gonna get whooped. So it's as simple as that. Boys be crying. Oh no. Viz, hey brother, what's the deal, Viz? Salute my G. Ooh, Claymore Rain is in the building. Yo, Claymore Rain. Salute my brother. Appreciate you dropping in, my guy. Yo, we got this Tank Davis, Lamont Roach fight. This whole narrative about how Tank wasn't the same in the first fight, and because he wasn't the same, he's easily gonna beat Lamont Roach, smoke him and knock him out in this rematch. Do you buy that, Claymore? By the way, my peoples, Claymore Rain is a boxing Bible. The man knows his shit. Go check him out. Go subscribe to that channel on YouTube. Real boxing talk. Y'all know how we do it. Boys be crying. Angry Mexican. I'm excited for that card. And we will get undercard also. Claymore Rain. Do we have a fight? I don't know if we have a fight, my brother. I was actually talking about that yesterday. I was saying, when is the last time that we saw promotional content? When is the last time we saw a promotional video for that fight? When is the last time we saw a press conference where they're talking about it, where they're facing, so I want to believe we have a fight next month. I want to be optimistic, but I don't know if we have a fight. Claymore Rain, when will they announce it? That's a great question. Don't ask me. You and Blue Blood Sports TV, y'all the insiders. You tell me what's going on with that. I don't know. Claymore Rain, they got us on the edge of our seats, family. Damn, bro. I mean, you got to understand, my brother. If you don't know and y'all the insiders, you know damn well I don't know. All I know is that the last thing I heard is that the fight is going down in August. The fight's going down in August. Until they say it's not going down, I want to believe that it is. I want to believe it. Ozzy. Hamza Shiraz versus Berlanga, a good fight. I love that fight. I said it before. I kind of lost faith in Edgar Berlanga. I kind of been feeling like damn, man, this guy, he's acting like a big star like this, but he hasn't really done anything in boxing. And when he got his big shot, he wasn't even there to fight. He was there for a check. Edgar Berlanga, my peoples, I felt like he fought Canelo Alvarez, and he was looking for a moral victory. He wanted to be able to say, look, I went the distance with Canelo Alvarez. I didn't get knocked out. Good stuff, you didn't get knocked out, but you didn't fight to win. You wasn't there to try to take it from Canelo. So I'm disappointed. So versus Hamza Shiraz, he can regain my confidence. Let's see it. Let me see you beat Hamza Shiraz. Claymore Rain, I'm hearing it may be, whoa, ousted out. Either way, I think it happens. Damn, man. I hope it happens. I hope it happens. I did feel like Lamont Roach won the first fight, and Tank Davis was gifted that W, even without the knee. If you don't take the knee into consideration, I still got Lamont Roach winning that fight. So the rematch, I think he can win the rematch even more convincingly. Let's get it. Let's see it. Boys be crying. If they don't announce it within 2 weeks, it won't happen. Plus, reserving the place can't happen last minute, especially with concerts happening. I mean, if they said it's happening in August in Vegas, I'm assuming they got the place. I want to assume that they have it. No announcement. They don't have the card. They haven't announced who's fighting on that card. I don't know, man. This thing is a debacle right now. Whoa, Kali Dub. Kali Dub with the super chat vibes for Jay Smith. I appreciate you, Kali Dub. You already know what it is, my peoples. Look, that's going to be the future Box Center studio right there. Anything you guys put, anything you guys contribute is going towards the studio. So you guys are actually going to help me build it. That's it. Y'all going to see some high-tech stuff up in there. Appreciate you, Kali Dub. What you got for us? But yourself a coffee. Buy yourself a coffee, dude. Respect from Ireland. Oh, Kali Dub is from Ireland. Ooh, salute. Bam. Appreciate you, Kali Dub. Viz, Shiraz will beat Berlanga. I mean, I don't want to say Shiraz will beat Berlanga, but he has the tools, resources to beat him. And like I said, man, Berlanga needs to prove himself to me. I've been down on him for a while now. Uno is soldier. Clarissa Shields did okay in MMA. Her athletic abilities help her compete with little experience. She popped her cherry, but she needs to stay in the square circle. Yes, she already retired from MMA. She already retired. She did good. She did great. She did great. You know, I think if she decided to stay in MMA, she could have become a world champion. But for her to become a world champion in MMA, she would have had to step away from boxing. She would have to retire from boxing and solely focus on MMA. I don't think that she was going to be able to become a champion while still staying at that same high level in boxing. So ultimately, it was a good decision for her to leave MMA alone. You did it. You won 2 fights. That's it. Good stuff. Claymore Rain. Berlanga just bet on himself. He has to feel the pressure. This is a huge opportunity. Oh, this from Claymore Rain. Berlanga just bet on himself. He has to feel the pressure. This is a huge opportunity. But Hamza is a real dog in this one. Great IQ and a great trainer. And Lee Berlanga has his work cut out. I agree with you 100%. This is a tough fight. I see Berlanga, looking real confident. He's saying that he's going to even stop Hamza Shiraz. I don't know if that's part of the trash talking because he does that very well. But this is a tough fight. Tough fight. As a matter of fact, I would say it's a 50-50 fight. I don't see Berlanga as a favorite right now. Viz. Q. How do I send you money? I mean, through the super chat. You could do it through the super chat. I don't have any other. I don't have Cash App or any other stuff. But through the super chat, anything, whatever, my brother. Anything that my peoples contribute, I appreciate it. Whether it's 5, 10, whether it's $1, I see it all the same. You guys know that I never ask for money. I'm here because I love the sweet signs, and I know you guys do too. Boys be crying. Berlanga and Shiraz has a 100K bet. You know what? I'm gonna keep it real with y'all, man. The concept of fighters betting money with each other about who's gonna win, I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of that at all. Like, nah, look, you're getting your purse and you're getting your purse. Forget all that betting money stuff. Leave the betting for the fans. Within the sport, I don't want to see nobody betting. I don't want to see the fighters, the trainers, the coaches. I don't want to see nobody involved in betting. Unless if you tell me at a betting place, a fighter betting a bag on himself, I don't got a problem with that. But betting amongst each other, I don't like that. I don't like that concept. Tarzan Rose. McGregor went 10 rounds with Mayweather. His footwork looked good too. We all thought Floyd was gonna embarrass him. Come on, Tarzan Ropes. Do you recall what happened when Mayweather started to pick up the pace? He did embarrass him. He did embarrass him. He was baiting him up. He was laying leather on him. So what you gotta understand that Conor McGregor only went that far because Floyd allowed him to. The whole beginning of that fight. The whole beginning of that fight, my guy. Floyd was just letting him have fun and smiling with him. But the moment Floyd said, okay, it's time to work, he embarrassed him. I don't even know if Conor McGregor landed another clean punch after Floyd started working on him. Come on, bro. Boys be crying. Floyd was taking it easy. Yeah, he gave him a few rounds, let him shine, let him live. And then Floyd was Floyd. Completely dominated him. So we can't say that. Come on now. Put some respect on Floyd Mayweather's name, my guy. Jay Smarty Pants, where you live at? Dominican Republic, my G. That's where we are right now. Check it. And by the way, my people, so those who are new, this is right here, Boxing for Breakfast. Yo, Mondays through Fridays, starting at 6 in the morning. And just to give you a quick recap, my peoples, the reason I came up with Boxing for Breakfast is because, I will wake up in the morning thinking about boxing, eating my breakfast like, damn, I wonder, is Shakur going to beat the crap out of Zepeda? Is Tank Davis going to keep ducking Shakur? Is Crawford going to stop Canelo? I'm thinking all these things. Why not share it with you guys? Why not politic with you guys? Because you over there sitting in your house early in the morning, looking goofy as hell, thinking about boxing too. Like, yo, what's going to happen with this fight? Who's going to win that fight? Here you have it, my people. Boxing for breakfast. You don't got to sit there goofy as hell thinking about boxing. You could be talking about boxing with Jay Smith. Cooking with CER Senior. That's why people need to watch the actual fight, not just the highlights. I agree with you. My brother, you said some wise words. Cooking with CER Senior. You've been watching boxing for a long time. Somebody who's been watching the sport for a little bit doesn't say something like that. You've been watching boxing for a long time. The highlights can be very deceiving. You could watch highlights and think that a fighter is way better than what they actually are. You gotta watch the fight. Chris Fontaine. Jay, my brother. Salute, Chris Fontaine. Appreciate you dropping in, my G. Boxing on paper. Did you even get enough sleep, brother? To be honest, I did not. I did not. But here we are talking boxing. Tarzan Ropes. Nah, back then I thought McGregor was just a brawler. He surprised me. Look, I could say that McGregor showed versus Floyd that he had more skills than we expected. Yes, he actually looked good. But he only looked good for the time that Floyd allowed it. The moment Floyd Mayweather picked up the pace and started actually showing his skills, Conor McGregor no longer looked good. He started looking bad. Started looking even clumsy. So we have to understand that. He can box. He can box. But he's multiple levels below Floyd Mayweather. Imagine Floyd at that point. What was Floyd at that? 39 years old, I think, 40? I think Floyd was 40 already. And Floyd stopped him. The fact that Floyd stopped him tells you how many levels he is below Floyd. Right there. Boys be crying. Tarzan Ropes. He gained a lot of the short term. But look at him now in the long term. Chris Fontaine. I got a good one for you, Jay. Church on Sunday. That's a week recap for the channel. Ooh. And I actually had a recap that I was doing before that I want to start doing again. So you're gonna see. Look, guys, let me tell you. For those of you who already been on the channel for some time, you know that I do a lot of short videos. I post videos every day. I'm on live. But there's different things that I'm working on to bring you boxing, in a way that you can enjoy, that you can enjoy the show. I'm also gonna be posting stuff where, I'm gonna have a show where we're not gonna be interacting. We're not gonna be going back and forth like we are in the morning show, where you just get to watch a lot of cool stuff about what's going to happen in boxing, predictions, and I'm just trying to keep it interesting for you guys. MSJ, people talking about Bud. Now he gonna lose and only going up against Canelo for payday just because he's retiring after Canelo fight. What say you? Well, there's really only two group of people that are saying that, and it's the people who don't like Crawford and the people who don't know shit about boxing. Terrence Crawford is a great fighter, an elite level fighter, and even to suggest that Canelo is gonna beat him easily, or is just gonna wash him, it suggests that you don't know nothing about boxing, or you just don't like him, man, and you think in a negative way. Crawford is there to make history. He's there to make people have to acknowledge that he is one of the greatest fighters of this era. And that's the thing. Look, if you've been hating on Crawford, how is it gonna hit you that Crawford, if he beats Canelo, that will be the biggest win of this era of boxing and one of the biggest wins in the history of the sport of boxing. If he beats Canelo, let that sizzle in your spirit, my peoples. How are you gonna feel after you've been saying that he's a hype job, that he's not that good, that he ain't all that? Imagine he gets the biggest win of this era. That's gonna break your heart. Y'all gonna be hurt. Claymore Rain. Since we're talking about highlights being deceiving, did Floyd Scofield show any new wrinkles to his game this past weekend? I mean, it happened too fast. We're talking about a first round stoppage. I think for me, Floyd has only weakness. Or not only one, but something that can come back to bite him and is noticeable. And getting irresponsible when it's time to let the hands go. Luckily, Tevin Farmer was hurt and he was able to finish him. But Floyd Scofield, when he has you hurt, he tends to throw, and he did it in this fight too. He tends to throw them looping punches that come from all the way down here, like that. He does that a lot. Left and right, from all the way over here. And if you got, a sharp guy in front of you that's gonna time you, they can really put a number on you in between shots. Chris Fonton, I'm telling you, Jay, Sunday the recap day. At Churchill. No. This is what happened. This is why I can't do. I do that on Mondays. I'm gonna tell you why, my brother. Because remember, Saturday there might be a big card, and there's a lot of big fights. So Sunday morning we talking about those fights. Imagine, for example, when Canelo and Buff fight each other on Saturday. The next day, how I'm gonna recap about the whole week when Butt and Canelo just faced each other, and now I gotta roast. I gotta cook everybody that said Canelo was gonna smoke Crawford. So I gotta do the recap. I gotta actually do it on Monday. I could consider it for Sunday night. I gotta see. It's in the works, my guy. We wanna make it happen though, for real. Uno is Soldier. What do you think about Julian Hammerhead Rodriguez win this Sunday? Honestly, I didn't see that fight. I didn't see it, my peoples. I don't like to comment on a fight if I didn't see him make stuff up like, oh, yeah, he looked good, and I didn't even see the shit. So after I see it, I can tell you. Boxing on paper. Why is Pitbull Cruz fighting Angel Fierro again? It was a great fight to watch, but doesn't Pitbull have bigger fish to fry? I mean, I think based on the way that the first fight played out, it warrants a rematch. It warrants a rematch. So Pitbull got to prove himself. Boys be crying. Avius got power, but got no chin. Jerry Smarty Pants. Canelo going to break him. You're going to be disappointed, my guy. That's why I've been trying to tell y'all. You keep focusing on the power and the size. And, like, that's all there's to it. When we already know that most fights are not decided by power. Canelo's going to break him. Canelo's going to do this and that. If you're saying Canelo's going to break him, there's like a 99% chance you also said Errol Spence was going to break him. And you saw how that played out. You know, it's like you guys didn't learn from what he did to Errol Spence. Well, he's going to teach you again. You're going to learn once again. Dear Smarty Pants, I'm coming back for the live. I hope so. I hope so. Especially September 14th. I know a lot of y'all on September 14th, your Wi-Fi is not going to be working. Your internet is going to go down. Your charger for your phone. Your dog ate the charger. All type of stuff. I hope you do show up. Boys be crying. Jake Paul versus Tank with Schofield versus Shakur as the co-main winner gets Tank. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen, my brother, because if Tank is fighting Jake Paul at, it's going to be at a catch weight, and they probably going to fight like at 150, 160, I don't know what catch weight they're going to fight, or if they're going to fight at an open weight. I don't know how they even going to go about making that fight. But if Tank Davis fight Jake Paul weighing 160 pounds, he's not going to fight Shakur Stevenson in his very next fight at 135. That's going to put him at a disadvantage. Tarzan Ropes, Canelo versus Bud going to be a controversial decision. I don't think so. I don't think it's going to be. If it's a very, very close fight, I cannot see it going to Crawford. It's going to go to Canelo. Like very close rounds that are hard to score, swing rounds, they're going to Canelo. But I feel like Terence Crawford has the skill set to offset what Canelo does to win in convincing fashion. Just like Bivol, just like Floyd. Uno is Soldier. Look out for Juan Hammerhead. I work with him and other pros through Herbal Nutrition. I'm going to check him out, my brother. I'm going to check him out, see what he's talking about. Boys be crying. Tarzan roast both supporters will be on edge. First round will feel like 10 minutes. I had the same feeling for the Madrimov fight. Look, this fight is gonna, for a little while, for a few rounds, is gonna turn into a chess match. At first, you're gonna see both fighters, coming out, studying each other. Neither guy is a goofball to just come out and just go crazy. They gotta see what the other fighters bringing to the table, and they gotta start looking for that timing. They gotta start looking for the right distance. And I'm gonna tell you right now, those first few rounds are going to Terence Crawford. It's gonna be Canelo trying to figure it out. You know why? Because Crawford has such a reach advantage on Canelo, my peoples. You guys listen, when people talk about power, right, which is a physical advantage, you guys forget that reach is also a physical advantage. Reach is a physical advantage. And if there's fighters on here right now that you can tell it better than me. Well, not better than me, because I'm a fighter too, nigga. You ain't gonna tell it better than me. But you can tell it too. Reach is something that can disrupt what you do. Now, if you're an elite level guy, yeah, you can get past the reach. But that's why we say styles make fights. We know that these days, Canelo, his head movement, it's not really there like that. He's not slipping jabs like that no more. His footwork, that shit doesn't even exist. So when you have a Terence Crawford with a way longer reach than Canelo Alvarez, you really have to take that into consideration. How is that reach going to affect Canelo? I know how it's going to affect him, but clearly a lot of people don't know. A lot of people don't get that. Dear Smarty Pants, I just subscribed. Good content. Ooh, salute, dear Smarty Pants. I appreciate it, my G. Glad you enjoy it. And by the way, Boxing for Breakfast is on Mondays through Fridays, starting at 6 in the morning. Y'all don't gotta sit in your house looking goofy as hell thinking about boxing. Like, I wonder what fight's gonna be this weekend, and I think Crawford is gonna win. You don't gotta do that no more. Now you got Boxing for Breakfast to tune in, listen to boxing, watch boxing, enjoy boxing. Let's get it, my peoples. Boys be crying. We can also get super deep into the scoring system and check the judges, their history of scoring to predict how they will score. Also, ref would be here about the judges on fight day, right? Listen, I think that there's a problem with the way certain things are handled in boxing. Like, there should be a way to review a judge's decision. Not just you already said that's what you decided and that's it. If you think about it, my people, judges' decisions are pretty much not reviewable. So there should be a review where, for example, you could have a judge sit down and say, okay, this round, let's watch this round together, punch by punch, and you explain to me why you score it for that fighter, so that they could give their own logic. Because if we see a fighter clearly lose a round, but that judge score it in their favor, they should have to explain why they scored it in their favor. But there's stuff that we as fans can't really control. We got to go with the outcome that they give us. Uno is soldier. Reach can make all the difference. Reach out and touch someone. You see? That's what I'm saying, Uno is soldier, that many boxing fans don't understand the significance of a reach advantage. And the reach advantage has to come with a certain style. Because Canelo fight guys taller than him all the time. Most of his opponents are taller than him. But it's not the same thing fighting a tall opponent who's going to just come forward and trade with you than fighting a tall opponent who's going to give you lateral movement, give you angles, move around. That's not the same thing. That's why we saw Erislandis Lara gave Canelo problems. That's why we see till this day people saying that Lara beat Canelo. That was a tough fight. Why? Because Lara was able to effectively use his reach advantage and his footwork to offset what Canelo does. That left hook to the body is not there to land consistently if you got a jab in your face all night long. Simple as that. Left hook to the body is a shot that you got to do from close range, from the inside. And if you got a jab in your face, good luck. So the significance of Crawford's reach advantage, people don't see it, don't understand it. If you're a fighter, you know what I'm talking about, and we're going to see it that day. We're going to see Terence Crawford using that reach to keep Canelo at the end of that jab. And the difference in reach is so much that Crawford will be able to hit Canelo with the jab at a distance where Canelo can't even reach him. Canelo won't be able to reach him at the end of his jab. Take that into consideration, my peoples. Take that into consideration and make of it what you will. Angry Mexican, Bud has 2-3 inch reach advantage over Bivol. That's insane. You see what I'm saying? It's all about the physical frame that he has. So when you say, well, Canelo got power, he got power. Well, Crawford got reach. Crawford also has a physical advantage. The difference is that Canelo's power, you can make a miss. You could block punches. You could slip punches. But you cannot take away Crawford's reach advantage without closing the gap. And we know I think we all know what type of fighter Crawford is on the inside too. He can literally keep Canelo at the end of the jab. When Canelo step in, bing, 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 sidestep out of the way, giving you angles. Canelo's gonna have a tough time, my peoples. More than you think. Everett D. Reeves. Tevin Farmer needs to retrain his cognitive and reflex skills to become a good and possibly great fighter. No contact, just reaching and grabbing, swinging objects as fast as he can, utilize lights. So look, my brother, Tevin Farmer is a guy who he's been through a lot of wars. He's taken a lot of damage, taken a lot of punishment. Obviously, he took a nasty beating in his last fight, even though it was just one round. So I think, a fighter at the tail end of his career, he's not gonna make major adjustments to his style of boxing. Tevin Farmer's he's still a good fighter. Still a good fighter for a young, hungry lion. And really, it played out the way that it was supposed to, unfortunately for Tevin. When you take the older fighter who's been through a lot, who's taken already a lot of losses, and you put him up against the young fighter who's young, hungry, strong, doesn't know how to lose undefeated, this is what was supposed to happen. Angry Mexican. The AI judge they be using scores have been head scratching also. I haven't really noticed the AI judging scores. Wait a minute. Because I think wasn't Hamza Shiraz versus El Bronco Adames, Carlos Adames scored by the AI judges? Because that shit was scored a draw. And Adames definitely put the beast on Shiraz. Tarzan Ropes. If Crawford's footwork looked good as before in the third round, Crawford will win. It's not just the footwork. It's a combination of things. The footwork, the hand speed, the reach. The combination of things are going to lead Terence Crawford to victory. And Lamont won, although close. I saw Lamont Roach win in the first fight, my people. John Smith, you believe timing beats speed? Yes. Yes, timing does beat speed. 100%. 100%. When it comes to Tank Davis and Lamont Roach, I felt like he won the first fight. Lamont Roach was more active. He threw more punches, landed more punches per round, landed a lot of clean punches on Tank. So I had to win in the fight. I felt like the draw was a gift to Tank Davis to not take away that he got gifted that draw. And I said it before, my peoples. I stand on it. I got Lamont Roach winning that first fight, even without the knee. Even without the point deduction that they stole from him, that would have guaranteed the victory. Even without that point deduction, I had Lamont Roach winning that fight. Uno is soldier. You box with your feet, not with your hands. That skill set and reach will disrupt all night. That's why I brought up the example about Erislandis Lara versus Canelo. That reach and that footwork had Canelo resetting himself all night long. And he just couldn't get that consistent attack going. Because that's the one thing people don't consider, right? Look how simple it is. Look, if I'm a fighter, right, and I want to catch you with a left hook to the body, which we know is one of Canelo's trademark punches, I can't catch you with a left to the body from all the way over here, like that, right? I got to close the gap, boom, so I can catch you. So from here to here, he's going to be at Terence Crawford jab range. And when he's starting to close that range for that trademark left hook, bing, 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 he going to eat that leather from Crawford. So that's what I'm saying. I can see Crawford the first 3-4 rounds winning it because Canelo's trying to figure out the range. And he's not going to be very consistent with that left hook to the body for that same reason. Because Crawford, you guys know, Terence Bud Crawford is a fighter who's very well conditioned. a gifted athlete, and he's ready to let them hands go for 12 rounds. Ready. So Canelo's gonna be outside of that jab range, and whenever he closes that gap, bing, 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 Crawford is gonna let the hands fly and move, stick and move. You're gonna see that. The real FUTV. Crawford is getting knocked out easy. That dude won't make it 5 rounds. So when you say that he's getting knocked out easy, and I'm gonna say this respectfully, the real FUTV. I'm saying this respectfully. But when you say that a world champion, a pound for pound fighter is gonna get knocked out easily, you're saying two things. Or you don't like Terrence Crawford and you always talk negative about him, or you don't know shit about boxing. Only one of those two things. Pound for pound fighters at that caliber do not get knocked out easily, my guy. That just doesn't happen. So that's crazy work. John Smith. You believe timing beats speed? Oh yeah, I read that already. 100% timing does beat speed. John Smith. If Canelo and Crawford were in their prime, who would win in your opinion? I mean, I think the results are exactly the same because right now, Canelo is like 35 and Crawford is 38. So the age difference, they're about the same. So the results that we get now, we would have if they fight at any point in their career. The real FUTV, Crawford has done nothing. He just struggled with a dude with 10 fights. Again, because those are things that you say when you don't know shit about boxing. A guy made it to becoming a 2-division undisputed champion, 4-division champion, undisputed champion, reigning champion by doing nothing. Only if you don't know shit about boxing, you could say something like that, bro. But subscribe to Box Center and you can learn over here. I'ma teach you. Uno is Soldier 7. Most people don't know shit about boxing. They talking about people like the real FUTV that say crazy stuff. Like, yeah, they're going to knock out a pound for pound fighter easily. Come on, bro. The real FUTV. If you think Crawford is elite, you don't know what you're watching. Look at that. You actually don't think that a fighter who's been ranked pound for pound in the world is elite. Number 1 pound for pound fighter in the world is not elite. Undisputed is not elite. Reigning champion, undefeated, 42-0 is not elite. That's because you don't know shit about boxing. You need Box Center badly in your life. Subscribe to this channel. And before you say that I don't know what I'm watching, I'm going to just say I was an amateur fighter. I fought as an amateur, competed in the Golden Gloves, and had to fight as a professional fighter. I cover boxing as an amateur, cover boxing as a professional. So I don't know. I don't know how much I know, but you don't know shit about boxing with the stuff that you saying. I got to be honest with you. That's what I'm about. I'm about being honest. So I don't say it in a disrespectful way. I don't want you to take it in a bad way. But you don't know shit about boxing when you talk like that about Crawford. Tarzan ropes. Skull fight made Canelo look bad. Canelo couldn't get to him. So I said this before. Canelo, when it comes to his hands, he's still performing at the highest level. If you see the way that he shoots the jab, the way that he throws his combination punches, the way that he counter punches, his counter right hand, Canelo does a lot that you can see he's doing it at the highest level. You can see it. But his footwork has always been his weakness. That's always been the case. That's the reason why I brought up Lara. Because Lara gave him problems, and that was years ago at 160. So it's not like it's a new theme about Canelo's footwork. It's not. We've already seen it. So now you got a Terrence Crawford who has the reach, the crazy reach advantage, longer than Dimitri Bivol, and the footwork to match with that. There you have it. That's enough to say he's going to run into problems. Crawford is going to impose his style. Adam, Do you know anything about Tio fighting Elvis Rodriguez? I don't know anything about that yet. I know Tio hinted that he would be signing with PBC. I don't know if he did. I don't know what's going on with that, but I don't know what's next for Teofimo Lopez, man. I really wanted to see him fight Jerome Boots Ennis. I thought that he was going to fight Devin Haney, and both of those fights fell through. So we're kind of waiting to see what's next for Teofimo. We see Devin Haney moved on and will be fighting Brian Norman Jr. next for his title in the welterweight division. That's a big, big fight. Salute to Devin Haney for taking on a champion of that caliber. Dreadmont quiz. Canelo lost to a dude with 19 fights. That man with 19 professional fights had 300 plus amateur fights. I mean, it's that people don't understand that number of fights don't mean anything. Did y'all not see Lomachenko become a world champion in his third professional fight? Come on. Number of fights don't mean anything. Only people who don't know shit about boxing bring that up as a talking point. The Real FUTV. Shot Porter, shot Spence, shot Khan, etc. Dude is garbage. Yeah, look, when you say that, The Real FUTV, all I get from you is that you never laced on a pair of gloves in your life. Ever, 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 ever. Maybe in the backyard with your friends or something like that. But you never boxed. You're talking like somebody that doesn't know shit about the sport. That's cool. I get you, fam. Uno is Soldier. Only two-time male undisputed champion. That guy is casual and just a man fan. Just BS like proof. They never boxed or studied the sweet science. See, that's the thing, my peoples. When you've been watching boxing on TV for a long time, you start to think that you're an expert. And you start to feel like you're an expert. And then you start expressing yourself. So people like The Real FUTV, they watch a lot of TV, watch boxing on social media, and that's it. They feel like they're an expert. And they come up with these horrible opinions about fighters that nobody believes. Like, you will not find anybody within the boxing community, anybody that you could consider an expert, agree with that goofy-ass opinion. So that's how you know. That's how you know right there. Oh, shit, my peoples. Okay, wait a minute. Here we go. Adam, Juarez ain't on Crawford level. Ozzy, Crawford got to come in as strong as possible without carrying unnecessary weight. I mean, I'm not sure because, look, this is what I think. I think that both fighters are going to weigh between 175 and 180 for the fight. That's how I see it. Both guys will be right around the same weight. Adam, that's funny to have no idea how good Crawford is. I'm telling you, people have no idea how good Crawford is. They try to paint. They try to put in their heads to convince themselves. Think about it. Sean Porter, a world champion. Amir Khan, a world champion. Madrimov, a world champion. Like they really trying to bring up world champions to discredit Crawford. That's just saying the type of... Sí, pero venga, dame un abrazo. That's just saying the type of opponents, the caliber of opponents that Terrence Crawford is fighting, my peoples. World champions? Come on, man. Listen, only people who don't know shit about boxing question Terrence Crawford's resume. I can tell you that right now. Terrence Crawford's resume is top notch. You see, look, Victor J. Madrimov beat who to win the title? You see, again, you're asking that question, but you never asked that question about Barrios when Barrios beat Tank Davis. When Tank Davis beat Barrios, you never asked who Barrios beat for that title. You say Tank Davis beat Leo Santa Cruz. You never asked who Leo Santa Cruz beat for that title at 130. You don't even know who Leo Santa Cruz beat for that title at 130. If you want to know who Leo Santa Cruz beat for that title at 130, you will have to Google it because you don't know. But because it's a Terrence Crawford opponent, you start asking questions that you don't ask about Tank Davis opponents. So that's weak. That's weak. You see, Victor J, that's how long it took you to Google it. That's how long. Ven, Liro, que yo te voy a cargar. That's how long it took you to Google it, my brother. But at the end of the day, when when you never boxed, look, let me explain to you something, my peoples. When you never boxed in your life, you make up opinions based on what you see on TV, right? Based on what you see on social media, what you formulate in your head. But when you box, you formulate opinion based on experience. So your experience is able to tell you what's really what. And y'all don't understand that. So look when somebody says, oh, look, Madrimov only had 10 wins. That's because you don't know shit about boxing. You don't understand the type of amateur career that he has. You don't understand the type of skills, the type of experience that he acquired in the amateur game. You don't understand that even Virgil Ortiz, after having video of him fighting Crawford, couldn't stop him. So, espérate, more, agárrame. Let me get salud.
Tú le vas a pagar papá rayo. Bueno, hablamos.
So I hope I gave you guys a good enough understanding. When you watch boxing, there's stuff that you just don't understand and you think, oh, I get it. I know, I got it. But when you bring up Madrimov to try to diminish Crawford, that's because you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know boxing. You don't know what it takes to get to that level. You don't understand what it takes to become a world champion, to beat highly ranked opponents and get a title shot and actually win it. You don't know what it takes. Madrimov only got 10 fights. You sound goofy as hell. You don't know shit about boxing. Adam, Victor, how many wells did Madrimov have in face after Crawford fight? Rottweiler. The Rottweiler is stronger than these boxer world champions. The real FUTV. The level of cherry picking Crawford glove blow up. Is that normal? Man, I don't know what you're talking about. You're looking like you got crazy conspiracies going on. Like your hate for Crawford makes you make horrible arguments. History doesn't record your horrible arguments, bro. That's what shows you that you don't know shit about boxing. History's not gonna record that you think he's cherry picking and that you know what history's gonna record? It's gonna record how many times he became world champion, how many times he became undisputed, how many world champions he beat. And by the way, if Terence Crawford beats Canelo Alvarez, that's gonna be the biggest win in this era. And since you were born, since you started watching TV, the real FUTV, no fighter that you like will ever have a bigger win than Terence Crawford. And I know that hurts you. I know that you can't even envision that. Just to think that Crawford might become a undisputed champion in the third division, that hurts you. It really does hurt you in the inside. But when it happens, I hope you show up to this live and explain yourself. What happened? I hope that you don't disappear, because a lot of people, just like you, and you know what's funny? The FUTV, I know why you hate Crawford the way that you do. And I'll tell you right now, you hate Crawford the way that you do because you thought Errol Spence was going to beat him. And you said Errol Spence was going to knock him out. You said Errol Spence was too big. Bro, did you not know? Did you not know? Look what happened. Look. So now that Crawford put the beat on Errol Spence, you hate Crawford more than you ever have. But you should have learned already. How after watching what happened with Errol Spence, you didn't learn? You made a horrible prediction. You thought Errol Spence was going to knock Crawford out. And it went the other way. Now you're rooting for Canelo. Like you will root for anybody that's fighting Crawford. You just want to see Crawford lose. Rottweiler, but a grown chimpanzee is stronger than all these pro fighters. Rottweiler, what is you talking about, bro? Like, Are you on something this early in the morning? You talking about dogs and chimpanzees? Yo, Rottweiler, listen, man. I'm gonna give you. You don't know. You don't realize it, but you're lucky to be here, Rottweiler. Box Center is gonna be the best boxing channel. So I'm giving you one more opportunity. That next time you say some goofy ass shit, you getting blocked. Ain't nobody talking about no dogs. This is not a dog show. So I'm an opportunity. If you want to talk boxing, we good. If you want to sit there and just watch the show and shut up, we good. But the next time you say some goofy ass shit about some dog, you getting blocked. Anyway, I digress, my Victor J. Adam Virgil clearly beat Madrimov better than Bud did. You can say that. You can say that. But Virgil clearly also had more footage on Madrimov and knew who Madrimov was better than Bud. That's the difference. Madrimov been out there fighting in Europe. There wasn't a whole bunch of tape of him. Crawford didn't study him like that. He's a fighter for Europe who's undefeated and that's it. But Madrimov had 12 rounds of action to study and still went the distance. You think about it. You think about that. How bad. Look at Virgil Ortiz's record, my peoples. I want you to think about Virgil Ortiz's record in his resume, right? If you look at Virgil Ortiz's record, the real FUTV, Crawford Duck Ortiz. You see the real FUTV? That's the problem when it only makes sense to people who don't know shit about boxing, but you also have to lie to feed your narrative. And you come to the wrong place to make stuff up, my guy. You're talking to the human algorithm, aka Jay Stradamus. Team Crawford actually sent Ortiz an offer twice, and twice they turned it down. They said that he wasn't ready for that fight. So if you want to say that Crawford ducked Ortiz, go to a different channel, go to a different page where your characters like yourself and go over there and make stuff up out of thin air. You can't do that over here, bro. Come on, man. You wrong. If you make stuff out of thin air,